I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. I was watching this event, this preacher out there in Brooklyn. Remember, he said that a group of men came in and robbed him. Remember this guy out there in Brooklyn? This church, his name is Bishop Lamore Whitehead, and he's the pastor of a church called the Leaders something of Tomorrow, or Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministry in Brooklyn. So 2 or 3 months ago, leave him up there, Miss India, leave this clown up there. By the way, this guy is tight with Mayor Pharaoh Eric Adams. These two are tighter than two peas in a pod. I think Eric Adams used to go to his church. So I saw it in the news that somebody, he was in the middle of a worship service had on like $500,000 worth of jewelry. His wife had on $500,000 worth of jewelry, and 3 men came in and robbed him and took all his jewelry and then drove off in his Rolls Royce car, right? So I said, this guy's lying. This is a setup. I knew, because if you ever, I don't know if we still have the footage of that from some time ago, the video, I knew this guy was lying through his teeth. You look at him. He's lying. But the article now says the feds arrest flashy Brooklyn pastor Bishop Lamore Whitehead for fraud and extortion. Let me just read some of the things that he's accused of. Bishop Lamore Whitehead, a flashy Brooklyn pastor who was robbed at gunpoint over the summer, has been arrested on federal charges, according to Color News Network. Prosecutors said that the 45-year-old pastor was slammed for allegedly defrauding a parishioner and trying to extort a businessman and lying to the FBI. Whitehead, who owns the Leaders of the Tomorrow International Ministry in Brooklyn, is facing several charges including 2 counts of wire fraud, extension, and making false statements. According to the federal indictment, Whitehead allegedly defrauded one of his parishioners out of $90,000 from her retirement savings. Officials say the infamous pastor promised the parishioner that he would invest the money and use a portion of the funds to help her purchase a home. But instead, Whitehead allegedly used the cash to purchase luxury goods and other personal items. He carried out the vicious scheme over the course of 14 months, beginning around April 2020. And it goes on and on about how he tried to defraud a businessman. So they haven't been able to pin on him that the robbery that he alleged took place was a fraud. They did, I knew they were going to get him. I knew they were going to get this boy. I knew. And so they hung some other charges on him. And I think that the people that attended that church probably felt that he was an honest person. And probably gave him the opportunity, the benefit of the doubt. But they should have seen the way that robbery is so-called carried out. They need to find out, now that this has happened, they need to find out who was it that helped him rob and then defraud the insurance company. And probably if he had those jewels, all that $500,000 worth of jewelry his wife had on sitting up at the church in Brooklyn with 35 other members, I think the insurance company is probably going to be on him too to try to find out exactly what's happening. I want to let you know, he's very tight with Eric Adams. I think Eric Adams has attended this church. Now, I don't watch New York One News, and I haven't seen very much about whether or not New York One is tying Eric Adams. But this guy had an open door to Pharaoh Eric Adams. And Pharaoh Eric Adams, and first of all, I think he's gay, this guy, Lamar Whitehead. I think he's gay. And I don't know. Some people say, well, there's nothing wrong with being gay. That's what a lot of people say. Well, the Bible says it's wrong. But I think Eric Adams is gay. I do. And I think that's what their relationship was about, because Eric Adams ain't into Jesus. But if they're both gay, and I'm not here spreading misinformation, Pastor, man, they're going to take me down off of Facebook or something like that. I said I think he's gay. You know, I do. This Latino, this George Santos boy who claims he's Jewish, he admits he's gay and lying up a storm. But the thing of it is that whether or not Eric Adams is going to come under any scrutiny for hanging out at this boy's church and having this boy having an entree into Eric Adams as Pharaoh and mayor of New York City. And so I'm waiting to see what they're going to do about that in terms of Eric Adams' choice of friends. You know, they have a saying down in North Carolina, if you're in St. Paul or Rennet or Maxton or Rayford or Laurinburg, even across the border in McCall, South Carolina, that birds of a feather flock together. And I think that Eric Adams, they may be looking carefully at him, but what Eric Adams has, he's got heavy, heavy Jewish protection. This boy, Eric Adams, this boy is covered by the Jews, and I'm a Zionist. Look at that. Here's a guy. So what they gonna do now? They're gonna investigate Eric Adams. Did he have anything to do with it? I think so. I think they should. I think they should. I mean, how does a scoundrel, like a scam artist like this, get hooked up with somebody like Eric Adams? I think the thing that brought them together is probably they were having gay sex, you know, years ago before Eric Adams became mayor. But there they go. There they go. This thing needs to be investigated. And I think the FBI's arrested. I knew that they're gonna get this boy. It says something. 3 men came in and robbed him and his wife, and he had over $500,000 worth of jewelry on, sitting up in a church with 35 members, with a Rolls Royce parked outside, by the way. So Eric Adams, you need to answer, what is your relationship? Did you receive any campaign contributions from this man, Eric Adams? Did you receive any campaign contributions? Did you give him any money, or did you give him any political influence? There needs to be an investigation to find out what is going on between this scam artist, this shyster, this liar from way back when, this fleecer. What's going on between him and Pharaoh Eric Adams? I would suggest both of them get good lawyers. And if New York City does not investigate, if Alvin Bragg does not investigate, if Tish James does not call for an investigation of this so-called Bishop Whitehead and Pharaoh Eric Adams, then nobody should be charged with any crime. No one should ever be investigated again in New York City if they let this stink. If they let this stink in here, and it needs to be put out. It needs to be put out now. And I'm going to keep on, I'm staying on this story. This is one I'm going to stay with for quite some time. At any rate, everybody, at any rate, something's going on. I think they're gay. Look at that. Well, would you do that with another man? I'll take a picture with a woman like that. Oh, sorry, Elizabeth. I'll take a picture, but would you take a picture with a man like, would you do that all up in one another's face? Would you do that? I mean, would any man do that? They gay. And I think this is going to follow Eric Adams. I think, anyway, we'll see. It ain't over with. I'm staying on top of this one right here in New York with the fraud that's going on with Pharaoh Eric Adams, at least alleged to be fraud. Let's put it that way. I'm James Evan Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant.